Is that Eames?
And allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Councilwoman DeGroot.
Here.
Councilwoman Hayner.
Here.
Councilman Secreto is excused. Deputy Supervisor and Councilman Van Cleef.
Here.
Supervisor Quigley.
Here, thank you.
Are there any additions or changes to this agenda?
None coming.
Yes, hearing none, we will continue on. At this point, we will open the floor to public discussion on agenda items. Ask if you have an item to talk about that you come to the podium, with your name and where you live, and if you would also limit your comments to 3 minutes. Anyone interested in speaking? Seeing the part report. Tashka, you were not available at our last meeting, so thank you for being available tonight.
Good evening. I don't really have that much to report about. I did last month or yeah. Last month, I was not attending the last meeting. On purchase.
Thank you.
We appreciate your work. Thank you very, very much. In addition to that, with under the Department Head report, we wanted to add Chief Kyle Berardi, the report on Quail Drive.
Good evening, Deputy Supervisor and town board members. Based on some concerns and conversations over the last couple of weeks, in conjunction with Superintendent Petromall, I deployed a speed trailer and license plate reader on Quail Drive, just north of the entrance to Ulster Gardens, capturing anyone traveling down the do not enter wrong way on Quail Drive. During a total of 7 days, it was between April 22nd and April 29th, 8 vehicles traveled the wrong direction on Quail Drive. Of those, 2 of those vehicles belong to Ulster Garden residents. Out of those 2, 1 of those traveled the wrong way at least 6 separate occasions. I have spoken to the owner operator of that said vehicle and strongly advised him of the concerns, and if it continues, will be issued uniform traffic tickets. 2 of the vehicles belong to residents on Quail and Burns Place, 1 to a resident on Himsdale, 1 to a Gardner resident, 1 to a local landscaping company. I spoke to the owner, advised obviously it's bad for business. Their name is plastered on the side of the truck, and 1 to a FedEx truck. I located the owner or the operator at FedEx truck a couple days later, actually doing another delivery in town, and spoke to him as well. So out of total 8 vehicles that traveled, the biggest culprit being the 1 who hopefully we have addressed the concerns. Out of all those 8, the average speed for 7 days was 21 to 25 miles an hour. So that's what we found. Obviously, it does seem to be somewhat of an issue, maybe not as bad as we thought. Hopefully that 1 culprit is addressed, and that will surely reduce a couple of the out-of-town resident. I would foresee that they were lost or confused. The other ones were more than familiar, I would assume, with the area. So it's something we're gonna be paying attention to. I will redeploy, the speed trailer has since been removed to recharge. I will redeploy the speed trailer later on in the season and see if the problem is continuing. Obviously, I welcome any complaints or concerns from the local residents up there. Anybody that has if you get a plate number or a vehicle description, something that you see on a regular basis, please reach out to myself and we can address it accordingly. Questions from the board?
You and the highway superintendent, Frank, you're leaving the traffic barrels up.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks, appreciate it. No other questions for him? Okay, thank you very much.
He said yes. He said yes to leaving the barrels up?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
He nodded?
He's leading it. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
that was a loud nod.
Yes, okay.
We have a public hearing at 7:10, so we'll go on with a couple of presentations until that time. In our packet, we have presentation of the current ARPA project schedule and funding status. Just want to review that you all see that and make any comments on that if necessary. There's no vote or anything on that. Jim, would you like to make a comment, please?
For the benefit of those in the community, the Treasury regulations of the ARPA program require that the town obligate 100% of the funds by December 31st, 2024, or lose them. We have until December 31st, 2026 to spend the money. The problem is that if you plan a project for 25 or 26 and it doesn't come to fruition, you're going to lose the money because you haven't met the timely obligation. So the proposed schedule here shows several projects that in the end fully obligate, but does not spend in 2024, the ARPA allocation that we received from the federal government of approximately $1.3 million. I want to stress that the majority of the projects in the town of Ulster have been for long-serving asset acquisition in water and sewer, water tanks. These are assets that have 10s, 20, 30 years of life, as opposed to the spending of the ARPA allocation in many other communities, which was basically to offset operating expenses. The rooster will crow one morning and they will find that they have to continue to pay for those operating expenses, but they won't have the benefit of the ARPA funding.
Okay, so with that planning and that plan, we'll go on with that presentation. The next one is the presentation of and future acceptance of the ARPA compliance report for March 2024. You find all the details in the packet, and it goes project by project, and it shows the status and the movement through those projects. Okay, any questions from the board members or Jim on that?
Treasury regulations require that this report be timely filed by April 30th. We timely filed it by April 30th, and it's presented here for future adoption.
It's a valuable tool. The next item, we have 2 minutes. The next item, presentation for future acceptance of the annual financial report, the APR file, which was mentioned earlier. That was filed by the Comptroller's Office. Any questions or comments about that?
This report was compiled by EFPR while they were doing the financial statement audits. They filed it with the Comptroller's Office in a timely fashion with an extension that was granted by the Comptroller's Office. I would ask that the town clerk post the draft in its full form on the town's website.
The next is a presentation of proposal from Hemlock Lighting for the evaluation and proposed improvement plan for the town of Ulster Town Hall parking lot. We have had some repeated concerns that at nighttime in the fall and winter seasons that this parking lot is not appropriately lit. So this would involve engaging a recommended consultant to do a study. It's got a price tag of, I think it was $2,500 to do the project. This is in here for presentation. Are there any questions or comments about it?
I'd like to change it to a motion.
I will second that motion.
Okay, it's been moved and it's been seconded to accept the proposal from Hemlock Lighting to do a parking lot light proposal for us. So, any other comments or questions? Okay, motion approved, all in favor, aye? Anyone opposed? It's unanimous and that's passed. Thank you. Okay, we will now back up in our agenda to the 710 Spring Lake Sewer District Phase 2 Final Performance Review for New York State Office of Community Renewal Program Funds Project 1159 PR 16-22. I need a motion to open the public hearing.
I would ask that Mr. Blauer explain the purpose of the public hearing prior to opening.
The purpose, Supervisor and Deputy Supervisor, is we received a grant in November of 2022 to complete the Spring Lake Sewer District. We had a hearing in the spring of 2022 when we applied for funding, and the state requires, as we are completing the project, to have a second hearing, what I call performance hearing, to give the public an opportunity to comment on what we've accomplished.
I'll make the motion to open the public hearing.
I'll second that.
It's been moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, anybody opposed? Okay. So
Thank
Mark,
you, Deputy
go ahead.
Folks, I'm going to start by handing around a sign-in sheet. Amongst other things, the state funding agency requires, in addition to the hearing, that we try to show who attended the hearing. And I'm going to pass around, just ask your name. You don't need to sign, but you would be doing me a favor to just keep passing around. And when it comes to the end, just bring it back on up. Thank you. I'm Mark Blauer, as Deputy Supervisor noted. I applied in conjunction with the town staff for a grant in the summer of 2022 that became Phase 2 of the Spring Lake Sewer Project. The Spring Lake Sewer Project began roughly in 2016, 2017, where we looked at the needs of that neighborhood in terms of sanitary sewer and realized that traditional system, gravity flow, would not work. So we used an innovative system called the low pressure sewer system that is very similar to what we did on Katrine Lane a few years prior to that. When you've got a situation where gravity is not your friend, you got to get the sewage pumped up to a sewer line where gravity can take it to the sewer plant. So the problem with the Spring Lake area was that we didn't have gravity helping us out. So we came up with a system that put in small force mains and grinder pumps in homes. And upon completion, it means that people could connect to the sanitary sewer system, and it would be pumped to the greater system of the town, and then to the conveyed to the city of Kingston, to their system, where in cooperation with the city of Kingston, the sewage for Spring Lake is treated. So we realized back in 2016, 2017, that the residents of Spring Lake could not afford this just by borrowing on their own. Too expensive. So we sought out grants. We obtained 2 grants. One is a fiscal year 2017 grant that was completed about 2020, 2021, the last bit of work. And that did part of the neighborhood. Then we went back and we took a number of years, but we did get a second grant, which is the project called 1159 PR 16222. That's a long way of saying that's Phase 2. Phase 2 work is done. If anybody's here from Spring Lake, you know that the project is completed and that people within the sewer district where we have told you can be serviced can now be part of the system. No longer have to rely upon a sanitary septic system, for example. So the project came in a bit less than we budgeted. We have $167,000 left. We have proposed to the state in the last week using that money for for resurfacing roads within that area, but they said no. So we're going to end up turning that money back. But the project was completed very successfully and very quickly, by the way, thanks to our extremely experienced public works and sewer department crews. We didn't hire a traditional contractor. We saved money by having our own staff buy the equipment and installing it ourselves. And my humble experience as a grant writer over 40 years, I've never seen anyone as good as the town of Ulster in doing this type of work. So essentially, I'm here tonight to tell the public that we complete the project. We're going to close it out in the next few weeks, not months. We're going to have some money left over we have no use for. We're going to return to the state. They can help somebody else with that money. This is the opportunity for anybody who has a comment about this type of project to tell us what they think. If anybody has an idea for a future project, this is an opportunity to let the town board know. And again, I was the grant writer on this, Mark Blower, our engineering firm that helped with the original application, Grenier & Larios, but the majority of the work was handled by Frank's department, in particular the town highway staff. So at this point, I'm going to ask anybody with the public to come up to the podium, tell us your thoughts, ask any questions. In the usual way we do things, identify yourself for the records so that Suzanne can show who you were. Thank you very much.
Okay, so as you said, we would invite anyone to come up to make public comment with regard to the Spring Lake Sewer District Phase 2. Is there anyone who would like to speak about it? It's for public comment. Okay, seeing no one. Mark, do you have any final comments, or should I just go ahead and close the public?
We've been working at grants for now 40 years that I've been here, and we continue to try to find ways to help the community. And wherever possible, we try to extend water, sanitary sewer, storm drainage assistance to neighborhoods that don't have that service. And the idea behind the grants is to try to defer the cost to people so that they're not being burdened entirely with that cost on their own. So, to the extent possible, I'll continue to try to work with the town to look for similar opportunities to help people, much like we help people on Katrine Lane, on now in Spring Lake, over the years in Glen Eyrie, on Brigham Lane, in East Kingston. We've done a variety of projects over the years with grants, and we continue to do a good job. This project was completed very quickly and under budget.
If I may make one more comment, Mark, what was the dollar amount of the original grant?
Yeah, I just thought about that a moment. I think, Jim, it's like $995,000.
Just under $1 million.
Pardon me?
Just under $1 million.
Yeah, just under $1 million.
And that's real money that came into our town that we did not have to raise taxes for or anything to pay for this. So thank you.
I'd like to compliment Mr. Blower on his involvement with the town for 40 years. Many of the people in this town are new residents. They don't realize what Mr. Blower and the town has accomplished over those 40 years in the various areas. We sat in caucus tonight and we discussed those projects, which included a Glen Eyrie water system, a Glen Eyrie water tank, a Glen Eyrie stormwater project, East Kingston Water District and East Kingston Water Tank, the Katrine Lane sewer system, Spring Lake, the Halcyon Park water tank, and the senior center next door. That's one we didn't think of. But those are at Cherry Hill, Sawkill Road Water District in the late 90s. And we even went back to the 80s on projects that I don't even remember. So there has been substantial federal aid brought into this community through the aspects of Mr. Blower's efforts in writing grants, all of which were based upon the income characteristics of the neighborhoods that we were proposing to serve. And an important component of the application is an income survey that demonstrates to Housing and Community Renewal that the neighborhood is greater than 51% low to moderate income. We are now challenged with finding neighborhoods that meet that qualification because of the influx of wealthier people over the last several years.
Seeing no other comments, I need a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make that motion. I'll second.
Move second, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Okay, thank you very much. Again, Mark, thank you very, very much.
Thank you,
Look
everybody.
forward to the next project, keep you young, you know?
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Okay, the next one might be called My Pet Project.
No, please. I was diagnosed with a viral infection yesterday, so.
Well-
It's not contagious. Go ahead.
I didn't say
I'm not gonna kiss you.
Anyway,
I
the
dig-
next items is a presentation of a law number 9 for 2024. Containing from chapter 127 marks. Bottom line is, we're just presenting this to you, it's in the packet. What it's saying in this ruling is that we currently do not allow dogs at the parks. This change in the law would allow dogs in Post Park. And they would require, there'd be certain restrictions. New York State already has a leash law, but they're restated here that a leash restriction, that they must always be on a leash. So this is for consideration. It's being presented. We have to go through the whole process. There will be public comment time on it. It's in the packet. And we will leave it at that. Any questions or comments about that? It's been presented.
Everything's spelled out right where, right in the package for,
Yes.
for everybody out there.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, everything's in the packet. The next one is one we get to vote on. This is a motion to authorize the supervisor and deputy supervisor to sign an engineering agreement with Ranier and Larios for the design and engineering of Ulster District North Storage Tank and an appropriation of $175,000 from the town of Ulster's ARPA fund. This north tank would be the one that you can used to be able to see a lot. You can see it's the red and white checker up here off 9W. And I think I remember when it was built when I was a kid, but it's time to redo it. So the quotes are included here, and this will be the initial agreement to have Ranier and Larios do the engineering work on that. So need a motion for that?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
I'll
I
second.
got the motion in the second. Any questions or comments about that? All approved, but we need a roll call on this.
Okay, Councilwoman DeGroot,
I approve.
Councilwoman Hayner.
Yeah.
Councilman Secreto is excused. Councilman Van Cleek.
Yes.
Supervisor Quigley.
Yes.
Okay, the next one is a motion to authorize the supervisor and deputy supervisor to sign engineering agreements with Hungerford and Terry Incorporated for the evaluation of the Ulster Water District and Boarding Place Road Treatment Plant and the Halcyon Park Water District Treatment Plant. This is the filter material that is used to filter the water and treat the water, and it does need to be reassessed at both locations. So we have both quotes in the packet. Just we've given the water department, we'd like to give the water department their go ahead to do this. So I need a motion for this.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second
We'll
that.
move to second. Any questions or comments? All, we need a roll call.
Councilwoman DeGroot,
Yeah.
Councilwoman Hayner.
Yeah.
Councilman Secreto is excused. Councilman Van Cleek.
Yes.
Supervisor Quigley.
Yes.
The next one is a motion to authorize the opening of a new checking account at Bank of Greene County for Dogwood Street Sewer Main and Water District North Storage Tank Project. Need a motion?
I'll make that.
Second?
I will.
Moved and seconded. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. The next motion is an authorization to sign the contract between the town of Ulster and Ulster County Canines Incorporated for the care and boarding of canines for a 2-year period. They have been our provider and would like to continue as our provider. The contract is included for your review, as you have reviewed. If you're all in favor, I would accept the motion to accept this. Any motion?
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
It's been moved to second. Any questions or comments? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? It's passed. The next one is a discussion about the town hall sign. That's just mocking the fact we missed letters down then. Discussion on town hall signage. In the package, you have 3 bids. One from Timely Signs. They came in as the low quote on it, Adirondack sign and Capital Awning. So we would be, this recommends that it be Timely Sign. I need a motion to that, please.
I'll make that motion.
It's been moved, second.
I will second
It's
that.
been moved and second. Are any questions or comments about this? Okay. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Is there anyone opposed? It's moved. Then we have next presentation of the long-awaited Town of Ulster Handbook for 2024. This has been a major project that Jim and I have both worked on with a company called Public Sector HR and with our town attorney. And we have consulted with both the negotiating units of the town. It is now time to put this out as a presentation to the public for you to look at and go through it and make comments on it at some point. But we will looking forward in the future to having this approved. There have already been some minor revisions to it, but at this point, I can tell you that both the local 17 and the Town of Ulster PBA have reviewed it and with the minor changes have accepted this. So we'll continue to move ahead. So this is for presentation only. Resolution authorizing the supervisor to sign an indemnification agreement between the Town of Ulster iPark, correct entity name per agreement. This is an agreement that indemnifies the town regarding the development on that site. If the words are many and long, so I'm not going to read it. It's included in the packet. I need a motion to accept this.
I will make that motion.
I'll second that.
It's been seconded. Now we have any questions or comments by the board? Okay, thank you for all your work on this. It's been a long and arduous task, but this will be one of those things where we see progress, I think, in the Town of Ulster, maybe on that site over there with Hope. I need a roll call on this.
Councilwoman DeGroot,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hayner.
Yeah.
Councilman Secreto is excused. Councilman Van Cleek,
Yes.
Supervisor Quigley.
Yes.
Okay, that's unanimous. Thank you. The next resolution is tied with that. With that indemnification, we are now prepared to present the resolution granting the site plan approval for iPark 87 East Campus P-908 Enterprise Drive and Boyce's Lane. Again, this is a large document. This has been reviewed. We've talked about this. It's been presented in the past. It's been modified by through recommendations. So I would need a motion to accept it.
I will make that motion.
I'll second.
It's been moved and second. Are there any questions or comments regarding this?
No, sir.
There are none. I'll take a roll call, please.
Councilwoman DeGroot,
Yes.
Councilwoman Hayner.
Yeah.
Councilman Secreto is excused. Councilman Van Cleek,
Yes.
Supervisor Quigley.
Yes.
The next topic is the discussion on park staffing. And I can explain what I know about this. Rocco Secreto is heading this up. He's not available tonight. We have posted openings for the town park staffing. We have accepted applications. We are in the process of going through them. But in order to staff the parks adequately, we are going to have to supplement with current town highway and the different departments from within the town. We've had people step up, and we're glad that they are. So it appears that we're going to be fine. There are other interviews that will take place and other people that will be considered to be working at the park. But the park is open and it is staffed. Please keep in mind that the young person or old person that may be working there or middle-aged may not know all of the rules because they are new this year. So the parks look great. I think everything's all ready. Frank, how many days has it been? It's been open?
May 1st, the one.
So we're on our second day. Okay. So in my drive through, it looks like it looks great, but just so you all aware of that. Sue, we want to discuss the summer camp registration.
Choose the microphone.
Yeah, you probably should. Make everybody else.
I do. I enforce the microphone. Summer camp, we are maximum capacity is 65 children. We are at 43 right now. We've so far only accepted town residents, and tomorrow, May 3rd, we will begin accepting residents outside of the town of Ulster. And we do have a waiting list, so we are near completion. So I invite people to call, stop by, and sign up ASAP.
Okay. Good. Last year's program was successful, right around that size, so good on that.
Yes.
Okay, now we have an update on planning board application for Xena Development. Warren, could you please come forward? Provide us with a update as you know it to this point.
Supervisor, Deputy Supervisor, board members. At this point, we've received the initial application from Xena Development, which would be the site plan special permit application. There is not sufficient supporting documentation, and certain funds have not been forthcoming. So consequently, I'm not accepting it as a full application. So it will not be present on planning board agendas anytime in the near future.
Okay.
Any other questions?
We did receive a letter.
Yes, just, Mr. Deputy Supervisor, on May 1st, the firm of Rodenhausen, Chale, and Polidoro from Rhinebeck, New York, representing the Woodstock Land Trust, sent a letter outlining the seeker review requirements, their interpretation of the Woodstock Town Code as it relates to planning board, and concluded that this project must go through the town of Woodstock's planning board and gain planning board approval for the development in the town of Ulster to move forward. Later that day, of course, I received an email from the attorney for the applicant disagreeing with the legal analysis. So we're going to joust with the lawyers for a little bit on this. I just want to make a comment here that the law firm that wrote the letter on behalf of the Woodstock Land Conservancy, it's the same law firm that has been fighting the Kingstonian for the last 6-7 years. So they have a long track record of litigating environmental matters. I believe this is going to be a long road.
I agree.
Okay.
Anything else?
No, anybody have questions for Warren on this? No, so we'll just keep it informed as we want to.
I'll keep you up to date as more information.
Yeah.
Available.
Thank you.
Okay. As I look down at my agenda, I don't see anything else that we're required to do other than welcome public comment. So at this point, I would like to open the floor to public comment about anything that you'd like to speak to the board about. Again, just remind about the 3-minute thing. And if you could come up front and identify yourself, we welcome any comments to the board. Okay, I'll fall off my chair. This will be the first time in quite a while. Thank you. Well, I don't want to say thank you. It's always good to hear from you, but I'm not going to be too slow to say I will entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second, well, you can second, third, and fourth. All in favor, aye? Aye.
I've been waiting 14 years and 8 months to do that.
You are allowed to take no for an answer.
Oh, okay.